Welcome back to the podcast. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
I'm Boz.
I'm Eddie.
G-Mac.
Hayden Bender.
We're Rob.
So obviously, the main thing we're talking about, look at these past games this Saturday. The game, Ohio State broke the 4-year losing streak, 27-9. Michigan fans, I'll let you three go on first. What you like, didn't like, and what's the next steps for Michigan?
Yeah, so we watched the game together. It was a fun game to start, that's for sure. I mean, Michigan went down the field, had a very big play to start the game. Marshall had a breakaway run, looked like he could possibly score a touchdown. Set on our field goal, and the next possession, Julian Sayin throws a pick, and man, we were going crazy. It was like awesome. It was looking exactly like last year. The better team was selling, and that's how the first quarter went. I mean, the first half was okay, but really after the first half, the wheels just fell off for Michigan. They had no chance. We were getting dominated in the running game, and usually it's the complete opposite. When these teams play each other, usually Michigan's dominating. It just was the opposite. And, I mean, Ohio State, they're making some good plays. Their receivers were burning us deep, had some broken coverages down the middle. And, there's a controversial touchdown. I think even if they call it for us, we probably still lose just the way they were running the ball on us. But it would definitely be interesting to see. But, I mean, the better team won, so disappointed, though.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I feel like our defense was just a huge disappointment today. We have a very young team, so, I mean, I really wanted to win, obviously, but I knew, similar to last year, we were going to have to play up to their level, and we just didn't, especially the defensive side. Defense was just getting blown up the entire second half. Really didn't even give our offense any chances to do anything. And then when we were on offense, I felt like it was very similar to the Oklahoma game, where we had a very close playbook for Bryce. I mean, he threw the ball 18 times, but I feel like majority of them were either checkdowns, which, I mean, that could mean nothing was open deep. But we were also just throwing a bunch of screen passes, too, that just weren't working, haven't worked all year. I don't see what coaches see in a lot of these screen passes. But we continue to do them, and then it just sucked. Couldn't get a running game going. Onto the third string, which, I mean, still not an excuse because, I mean, he's still pretty good, but we just couldn't – our line was just getting dominated too. So it was pretty much just a switch from last year. It's just a battle at the line of scrimmage, and we were just getting beat up on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both what Bender and Gavin said, but honestly, I kind of didn't think we were going to win this game at all. I think last year we just happened to have Ohio State play down to our level because we were not good at all last year. But the hopefulness is that this team is entirely young, and, I mean, we have almost an entire true freshman or freshman redshirt offense, and the defense, I think, is great, and it's been built through the transfer portal, so it can continue to be built through that. But also, we got young enough guys through the transfer portal that they'll be there next year. And I think there's a lot to look forward to, and I think there's a lot to look forward to even in the bowl game, just because, they're all, young enough that they should play, and there's no reason for them not to play. So I really hope that, we do take care of business in the bowl game, and I hope we build from that too. I hope Bryce, develops over the summer. I do hope we get rid of Chip Lindsey. I cannot stand the screen passes and the checkdowns. I want us to develop Bryce as a down-the-field passer, too. He definitely has the potential to. He even showed it in the game. He threw, honestly, a dime through triple coverage to Donovan McCulley. And, I mean, was it, the best read? Probably not. But, I mean, it was still an amazing ball. It just, I don't know, you need more of that, especially in a game where their offense is high-powered. And they decided they actually wanted to throw the ball, too, which opened up the run game for them for once. And, I think next year we'll be back. I think the O-line will be better. I think the whole team will be better. But, this is a step in the right direction from last year, I think, as a young team and as a team that built from what last year was. And 9-3 is not bad at all from being 7-5, or I guess 8-5.
Yeah, I mean, going off that, I'm kind of excited. I mean, it sucks we missed our playoff chance, but excited for this bowl game, see what young guys can step up. Last year against Bama, we saw Jordan Marshall really step up, and then that carried into this year. So I'm excited to see who will take a step in this bowl game and hopefully carry it into next season.
Now going to the Ohio State side, I think just the big thing for Ohio State was they were able to protect Julian Sain just so well in this game. I mean, 0 quarterback hits in 4 quarters. Like, Michigan usually has a very good pass rush. They had very good pass rushers. Jayshon Barham, very good pass rusher. Linebackers are solid. Their front 7 is a very solid unit. Like, I'll give that. Michigan, that's been their strength for a bunch of years now. That helped them win the national championship a couple years ago. But just Ohio State, Julian Sain, that first drive, had that first throw at Carnell Tate that was good. And then the second throw at Jeremiah Smith, which was just, I don't know what he was throwing. That was just a horrible ball. That was his worst throw of the day. And then after that, Ohio State still and played their game. That was the key coming into this. If they played their game, they would win this game. Don't play down to Michigan like they did last year, or Michigan would probably win this game. But they threw it to receivers. Tate had a great day. Jeremiah Smith had a great touchdown, even though it was controversial. I think we still win. Bo Jackson had a come-out game, 120 yards or something. But, yeah, Ohio State defense looked impressive. 3 field goals, no touchdowns. I like the way we're building now towards going to Indy to face a very good Indiana team. But I like our chances, but Indiana's going to be tough.
Yeah, I got it. This is the second full Ohio State game I've watched all season. They played pretty well. I liked how they utilized the run game and the pass game. I'm too used to the last couple of years where they just do one aspect on offense the whole time. And I'm glad they finally switched it up and didn't play like a bunch of idiots this year, because that's what they've been doing, and that's why they've been losing. So I'm glad they won. It was a solid win. I think they held like every facet of the game. It was honestly just a good win throughout the whole game. There was one mess up by the offense pretty much just in that pick, and every other time they did what they were supposed to do. So
yeah, what I saw from this game here is, honestly, I thought the voodoo black magic was coming out again. In the first fucking 5 minutes, they have a fucking 50-yard rush on the first play, which is just insane. I thought he was gone at first. He almost was, but after that, Marshall kind of took a hit, and they were down to their third string, which definitely hurt them. But even then, I mean, they were running the ball a lot, and they were getting some good gains in the first half. Satan had that terrible pick, and I was like, fuck, here we go again. A quarterback who's been insane all year in the Heisman fucking talks, and then all of a sudden just having the worst game of their life. I mean, I was talking to Will about it. It was just so terrible. I was like, no way this is happening again, right? But then after that, I was really, really surprised and happy to see how we kind of responded to that, because that was definitely some adversity, cold weather, being from California. He stepped up, and he made some incredible throws later in the game. And we kind of opened that up because we got the deep ball going later in the half. And Michigan kind of stayed in it with some big runs and some field goals. Zavada actually played good for once for them this year. But other than that, they didn't do anything. I mean, going into halftime, having the lead that we did, we kind of just poured it on after that. Had some more big passes. Tate had a big catch. Jeremiah Smith had a big catch. Ennis had a big catch. That's all your top 3 wide receivers just coming out in the biggest game. You just love to see that. And then after that, it was just opened up so much. I mean, the run game, I was so shocked to see it work that well. I mean, our O-line probably had the best game they've had by far. I mean, you see Isaiah West coming in the game, and he usually doesn't get too many carries, but he just comes in and plays great. Then you got Bo Jackson carrying the load on offense. He did so much, especially in the second half, just putting them away. That one drive in the third and fourth quarter that took 12 minutes off the clock, I mean, my goodness. That was probably one of the best things I've ever seen. Even though it only led to a field goal, you take almost a full quarter off the clock and you get points on the board. It is very rare for you to lose a game. So for me, after 4 years of just terror and torment, this is exactly what I needed, especially in the fashion that it was. This is just absolutely something that I needed to see. And honestly, in some ways, this felt better than the national championship last year, because it's just been so fucking long since we beat this team. I fucking hate them with everything in me, especially hearing these guys every single week. When I talk about Ohio State, it's always this 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, all-time record, all that shit, every single fucking time. It just finally feels good to get back on the fucking winning side of things. And hopefully my prediction will go right about being 16-0 this year, because that is still very much alive, as was my 9-3 prediction for Michigan with all the correct losses. So, well.
Yeah, another good addition to the game. Michigan. You want to add on something?
Yeah, I want to add something. I think the best way you can even beat this Ohio State team is if you get pressure in Julian Sand's face. I think no team's been able to do it right now. So if your guys' O-line holds up, I think you have a good shot at the Natty. But if you find any team that has any D-line that wants to play and they come to play, I think that's what's going to give you the biggest trouble is being disrupted in the backfield. I mean, Julian Sand is a great pocket passer, and he's had great pockets all year long. But, I mean, it's so true as day. And you can't put your hands up, bros, because you know it damn well straight. No one's gotten huge pressure on you where they've been able to get to you all fucking game. Maybe once or twice or never, but, your O-line is literally what's carrying you right now. So, I mean, yeah, it's great. But, if anyone goes down or, it's next man up, of course. But, if there's any team that's going to just full out outright dominate you at the line of scrimmage, I genuinely think that's going to be your toughest test of the year.
I would just be surprised to see that happen, honestly. And I think that he makes such great decisions within the pocket that I think it'd be really tough for them to just get that crazy of pressure, especially on an O-line that's talented.
I would like to say, even though I'm a Michigan fan, Ohio State is definitely my personal favorite to win the Natty. I think they're the best team. They're healthy. They've played good. They have explosive players, yada, yada. But I do agree that, some of the competition they've played hasn't got pressure. And if they do, I'm not saying Ohio State is going to lose. I'm picking them most games out of the playoffs. They keep advancing. But I do think it's going to cause problems. Michigan these past 4 years has got pressure on them, and it has changed the game around. It's just a fact. This year they didn't. It wasn't even a contest really after the first quarter. I think if other teams really want to, stop Ohio State, they have to get pressure. The problem is that a lot of teams have to bring 6 guys, and, you're playing man-to-man across the board against Jeremiah Smith, et cetera. That's not going to work out. So teams got to figure out how to bring 4 guys that gets the quarterback, or else it's going to be an easy road for Ohio State, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with all those points. I just think the only front 4 I could see giving us a problem. I know it's Texas Tech. I mean, they got a very solid defense. I think they're a front that could cause problems. Jacob Rodriguez is very good. Probably going to win the Dig Buckus Award at linebacker. And I mean, Georgia's been coming in hot defensively, even though offense against Georgia Tech, they didn't look insane, but their defense is always solid. But also, Moon, I just want to ask you guys, even though the playoffs are coming around, the bracket's going to start shaping. What's your one key thing you're going to take away? Not from when the rankings come out, but when these next rankings come out after this week's done. I'm just curious to see where Miami, Florida lands, because obviously they handled Pitt today. If I were to debate between Notre Dame and Miami, Florida, I would put Miami, Florida in over Notre Dame because they beat them earlier in the year. And I think that's got to mean something. And I mean, the only thing that gets this into chaos is if BYU beats Texas Tech. If that goes and then the Big 12 gets 2 teams, so who gets left out? Someone's going to get left out of here that's a good team. But, yeah, people are throwing around Texas. I don't see it. I don't. If they didn't lose to Florida, yes, I think they'd be in 100%. But I just don't see a 3-loss Texas. The only 3-loss team I could see with a possible chance is Bama if they hold on to beat Auburn, but they lose an SC championship. But, yeah, I just wanted to know what you guys thought. What's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, so for me, we'll hit it on the spot. I think if Texas makes it, I understand they just beat the number 3 team in the country. But, I mean, they have 3 losses. And I think there are way better teams that have 2 losses that are ahead of them and around them that should have a better chance than them. I mean, you lost to Florida, and Florida's one of the worst teams in the SEC. They're 3-8. I don't know if they're 3-9 now or what.
They're 4-8.
4-8. Okay, they're still not a very good team. And then you look at a team like Georgia that they played. They got absolutely whooped by Georgia. I just don't think that this is the team to make the playoffs in the state of Texas. Texas A&M is going to be in. I just don't think Texas is the team. I'd rather take a Vanderbilt team that just beat Tennessee by about 21 than a Texas team that has 3 losses, and
even though Texas beat them, you would.
I don't think so. I think that even though you can beat them, you're one loss, and first of all, you have one more loss than them, and the loss you had is just terrible. And I just don't think they're going to be able to compete in the playoffs to get in there. The other team I don't like that should not get in is Miami, Florida. they're absolutely trash. And I don't like Brose's point. I understand that they beat Notre Dame week 1, but I guarantee if they play right now, Notre Dame beats them. Miami has not looked good recently. Notre Dame has looked better, and I think that's a fact. But, I mean, other than that, it's whatever. I hope BYU loses, though. They don't deserve to be in. Their record is just – it's good, but their strength of schedule is trash. I think the real competitor of the Big 12 is Texas Tech, but interesting to see how it falls here.
Honestly, to go off that Miami-Florida Notre Dame discussion, I think you got to put Notre Dame in front of them if it comes down to those two. But honestly, that game was so close, and I think Miami's defense is genuinely good. It's just the problem is their losses are horrible. The losses they have are genuinely like straight dog shit. Like who they lose to? SMU and Louisville.
SMU's ranked.
SMU's ranked.
SMU's currently losing to California. So
yeah,
put that out there.
And update: Bama is beating Auburn 17-6.5.
So, like, it just they aren't good losses. But the problem is that Miami is on paper technically an insane team. It's genuine like fact. I mean, their defense at the beginning of the year was dominant. They were dominant against Notre Dame. But the problem is that they have horrible losses, and I think it's been talked about on ESPN a ton lately too, about how bad those losses are, and how you can't really put a team in that has those bad losses unless chaos happens, which easily could, and then move up somehow. I mean, they had a dominant win, I would say, against Pitt, but also it's Pitt. I mean, Pitt's ranked, but they're ranked barely, and they honestly shouldn't be ranked after the ass whooping that Notre Dame put to them too. So I don't know. I think it's a lot for the committee to discuss because both teams, won, and then you also have A&M in there who barely beat Notre Dame too. So Notre Dame's 2 losses are very close losses by 1 score, and they're both, well, I guess the Miami one's on the road and the other one's at home, and it's a PAT that basically loses them the game. So I think you have to put in Notre Dame, but I think Miami's just that they're on the bubble. If they get some help, they get in, and that's great because I think they have a great defense that can honestly, if they want to lock in and they want to play good football, they can do damage, and that team can make a run. But they just need a shot, I think, is their biggest thing. But they just, I don't know, even like last year, too. I mean, look at, they had a great shot at getting in, and they lost to Syracuse. So, I don't know, do you want to put a team in there that probably is just going to, shit the bed against a really good team? Because they genuinely have it. And they're not going to get a home game either. There's no way they get a home game unless they magically get an 8 seed, which they're not. So, I don't think you can put Miami in there unless it just magically opens up a spot. Texas shouldn't be in either. No 3-loss team, in my opinion, really should be in.
I was just going to say, John, the only 3-loss team I can see being in is the Bama team, especially since they're probably going to win this Iron Bowl. And if they lose the SEC championship, I think it's fair to stay in compared to a 3-loss Texas team.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think the conference championships are going to be taken a lot less serious this year just because you can't really punish a team that is in the top 12 that's playing in a conference championship, and then they lose, and you just bounce. I feel like there's no reason to bounce a team out for that. I think because they're playing an extra game as well, which is unfair to teams that are only playing those 12 games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to say on this, but I think a couple of things would be interesting. I feel like the Big 12 game's really going to be interesting. Which I don't think BYU is going to get a win. But, I mean, if they do somehow pull it off, it'll be interesting to see what the committee does. And whatever they do this year when it comes to these conference games and who wins, who loses, who's in, who's out, it's really going to be setting a base and a standard for the future since this is the start of this new format. So I think this will be very interesting to see how the committee lays this all out.
For me personally, I don't think you're going to see too much change in the bracket unless BYU wins. Right now, they are the 11th seed, but if it stays this way, they'd get replaced by the ACC champion. So for that, I think as long as Notre Dame holds true and they win their game tonight against fucking Stanford, and most of it's going to stay the same. I mean, 1 through 9, besides A&M, is going to be pretty much the same. A&M will move down, other people will move up, but it'll be the same teams also as long as Bama wins like they are right now. But I'd say I don't really like that Notre Dame's just so far ahead of Miami. I understand Miami has the bad losses that they have, and Notre Dame's been more consistent recently. But I mean, at what point do you talk about resume over a result that happened on the field? I don't even care if it's week 1. Like, what's the point of scheduling that game if it's not going to hold any fucking value at all? Like, I really just don't understand that. Like, if you're a Miami fan or player, you just got to be pissed off because, like, it's just Notre Dame being this huge brand and getting the benefit of the doubt. I just really don't understand it. I don't understand why you play the games on the field if you're just not going to get it over another team.
I got to disagree with that because I think you schedule those games to prove that you're a team that can play. And I think both teams prove that they can play, but you have to take into the fact that Notre Dame's lost their 2 games to top 12 opponents. One of them that was in the top 3, they're going to obviously be bounced to A&M as. But both of Notre Dame's losses are these 1-point losses where Miami's losing to these ACC shitters after being this great talent. Miami is a great team, and they honestly deserve to be in if they do get in. But you have to take into the fact of who they lost to. Notre Dame is running the table against the teams against similar like component teams than Miami lost to. Like Louisville's not a good loss. Miami's a good loss. A&M's a good loss, but Louisville's not a good loss. And if SMU loses to Cal, then that's just a bad loss too at that point. I just think you have to consider the fact that Notre Dame loses on the road to Miami by 1 score off a field goal, and Notre Dame loses by a PAT mishap at home against what was the number 3 team. Where Miami, what were the scores of those games? Like, I genuinely don't know, but they weren't. I don't think they were really like close.
Miami lost to SMU by 3, and I think they lost to Louisville by 3 as well.
Okay, well, either way, that's an unranked team, and it's a ranked team right now. It's just the ACC is so shit that it's hard to just give them the benefit of the doubt that, oh, it's just a mishap game or whatever. Compared to Notre Dame's 2 losses are ranked teams, and everyone else they play, they just run the fucking table the entire game and beat the shit out of teams. That's not because it's a big brand. That's just because they're playing dominant football, and it's clear as day, and they want to make it in.
Yeah, I understand that, and I completely agree with you if one of their fucking losses was not to the team that we're arguing about. It is literally a head-to-head game, and I understand that Notre Dame's been completely more consistent through the second half of the season, but one of their losses is to that team that they are ahead of. I just do not understand it. It's a head-to-head matchup in one team won, and they're 3 spots behind. I just don't get it.
It'll just be interesting to see. Last thing I'll talk about before we move into some conference championship picks, we'll make them quick. I'm just going to ask you a question. So Lane Kiffin is the big talk around college football. Do we think he stays or he goes? In my personal opinion, I want him to stay at Ole Miss, but he's going to leave for LSU. I mean, the recruiting base is bigger. He's going to get paid a lot of money. And I just think, I think he could win at Ole Miss. I just don't know if he could win national championships at Ole Miss. I think he will leave for LSU, but I do want him to stay at Ole Miss because I think he's a perfect fit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Bros. I think that I would like to see him stay at Ole Miss. I think, he's built a solid program there, especially when he joined Ole Miss. They were always bottom tier of the SEC. They always have been. They probably will be if he wasn't there. But I just think the temptation is too much to leave for LSU. Like Bro said, they have a way better recruiting base. They still recruit guys very well in the last few years. I mean, they haven't been a good team, but they still recruit well. And then the whole fact is it's Death Valley. It's LSU, way better program over the years. And he's going to get paid more. I mean, it's just a simple fact. They can pay him more, and then they can pay the players more, so they're going to get better players, yada, yada. So I think he probably will leave. I hope he doesn't. I feel like NIL is changing the game a little too drastically, at least in my opinion. He built up a school, and then he's just going to go leave to the same conference to get more money. I just think it's kind of stupid. But, he can do what he wants, but I think he's probably going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, how much money did you say
they offered him? 7 years, around $100 million.
Yeah, that is just an insane amount, which I'm sure Ole Miss is offering him a lot too, but probably not that kind of money. I feel like the smartest thing for him to do, like, for him personally, would be able to take that job. Like, it's just such a huge job, that much money, that long term, and just those recruits that you're bringing in at LSU. But on the other hand, I would think it'd be awesome if he would just stay at Ole Miss with his players that he's recruited and just ride it out with them. Because, obviously, like, right now they're a top 10 team. Like, they're fighting for a natty, just like everybody else is in this top 10. So I don't know. I think they're capable. If he stays there, I think they're perfectly capable of going to win something. But from everything I've been hearing, it sounds like he might head over to LSU.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I really hate how this is where this timeline is. This is like horrible for the players, in all honesty. You should not be having to force a coach to make a decision about his career in the middle of the season and right before playoff time. It's unfair to the guys because I think even if he takes the job, he should finish out his coaching term at Ole Miss. That's what the players need, and that's what he should do integrity-wise. But overall, I wish he would stay, but I see honestly why he is going to. And so there's a source right now that says Lane Kiffin will remain at Ole Miss.
Not sure how reliable it is.
Yeah, there's been a lot on Twitter, and Twitter is Twitter. But I will say this. I hope he stays. I do. But I can also see the reasons of the money, but also the reasons of he has a daughter who's literally dating Whit Weeks, who plays for LSU. So, like, I mean, that can easily play a factor in the sense of, oh, I can bring my daughter over here, too, and she can go to school for free and all that, And then, that relationship would be closer and whatnot. Obviously, that's very new, I would say, but it's definitely something you could keep in mind with this. But I hope he stays, but I don't blame him if he were to go just because the money's there. NIL is there, and we live in a day and age where NIL is everything now. And I just want him to be able to finish out his term at Ole Miss because they deserve to be able to make a run with their head coach.
For me, I'm going to honestly guess that he stays, and I really want him to stay. I'm honestly just making this decision based on what I want him to do. Because it's just like, I mean, at what point do you just make the choice of money over anything else? Like, you build these relationships with all these people. Like, imagine how often Lane just goes outside of his house, and you got all these, like, old people who've seen Ole Miss sports be dog shit for decades, and they're just, like, being so grateful for what he's done for them. Because they were never good. Oxford's a small town in Mississippi. Like, it's not that they have anything else to do there. They got Ole Miss football, and that's it. And Lane Kiffin's built so many relationships, so many teams that have just, achieved so many greater things that would have ever been thought before. And now he's just going to possibly leave to go to this program that's just all about money and everything else. I just don't understand that. I mean, I know he's kind of a weird guy in that sense. Like, he kind of, like, never makes people be able to know his next move. But, like, at what point do you just make the choice that's, like, best for you and everyone else that you've just been with? I'm sure the family loves being in Ole Miss because they've just been doing so many great things. I really want him to stay.
I think he shouldn't leave. I think it's stupid, personally. You, like how everyone else is saying, you build all these relationships. You recruit all these kids. I get money's a factor, but it just gets to a point where you shouldn't. The way that you recruit kids and the reason that they go to your school is mainly because of the coaching a lot of the time. And now you practically just absolutely fuck half of those kids because they want to go to the school, they want to get coached by you, and then you recruited them, and then you leave. That's just a terrible human interaction right there to me.
All right, well, we're going to preview and predict some conference championship games that are official, or do we think what's going to happen? We don't know the ACC one, so we can't make a pick on that just yet. But we're going to start with the one that will be in the Big 12 championship. It will be Texas Tech versus BYU. First matchup they had, Texas Tech absolutely dominated them. It wasn't even a game. Honestly, I think it's going to be the same thing again, I think Texas Tech goes in there. They take care of business. They go to the playoffs. Depending on what happens in the SC Championship, if Georgia loses, they could get a bye. But I really would like to see them host a home game with that atmosphere because it would be awesome. So I'm going with Texas Tech to beat BYU and win the Big 12.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Texas Tech as well. They're just the better team. They beat them before. I think BYU is severely overrated. I feel like the teams that they play are just mid to good. I think that Texas Tech is the one team in the Big 12 that is very, very good and even considered great. And I think they just put a whooping on them. And I think BYU drops out of the playoff contention after they lose to Texas Tech in the conference title.
Yeah, I mean, watching that head-to-head game they have, and then especially watching this week too, them kind of struggle a little bit. I don't think BYU has what it takes against this Texas Tech team, who's like a very good, like all-around football team. So, like Hayden said, I think after they lose this game, they'll also be bounced, which will clear out some space and make it easier on the committee.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, most of the time we say, you don't beat a team twice in a season, but they aren't good. BYU has not played anyone of like genuine, competence, and with that, you played Texas Tech and they got steamrolled. I know this is a, Big 12 championship game and it's technically a neutral site, but it's also in Texas. It's in Arlington, so it's definitely gonna, be lopsided and whatnot. But I think Texas Tech rolls them, and I think they then solidify their spot in the college football playoff.
I think BYU is going to get fucked. I think there's no possible way that BYU wins this. They aren't a good team. I don't think so. I think Cincinnati should have beat them, and I think that the job's going to get finished by Texas Tech.
I agree with everyone else here. I think BYU are some frauds. And honestly, they should have lost to Cincinnati the other week. If the Cincy kicker wasn't like a double agent for the Mormons and actually decided to make his kicks, it would have been different because that game, it was actually somewhat close, but then just absolute dog shit ensued with the Cincy kicker. So BYU was able to win that game.
And the refs soaking with the Mormon wives.
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
But, I think they're frauds. They really haven't done shit besides beat another fraudulent team in Utah. So, yeah, I really do think that they're just going to get absolutely whooped again in the conference title. And then you'll see Texas Tech potentially get a top 4 seed. So, good for them.
All right, Big 12 matchup. Next one we move on to in Atlanta for the SEC championship. As we presume what the score looks like right now, it would be Georgia versus Alabama. If Bama were to somehow lose this game, it would be Georgia Ole Miss. I think this matchup will be good regardless of who's in it. For Georgia, it's a home game, basically. So with that, I've seen this story before. Georgia comes in with the better team. Bama, I think, will be a good test for them. Bama's already beaten them once. But, I'm going with Alabama. I think they're going to do it twice. I think they're the team that could give Georgia problems just with the passing attack being so freaking pretty insane, I would say, with Horton, Bernard, and Ryan Williams. I think Georgia's solid. I just don't know if their offense is good enough to win a national championship. So I'm going with either Alabama or Ole Miss to beat Georgia, depending on the result.
Yeah, I do think Alabama's going to end up beating Auburn. Auburn just can't even catch a football. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be Bama, Georgia. And honestly, I think Georgia's going to beat them this time. I don't know. They kind of struggled this week too, but I think they're going to come back, have a little bit better of a game plan than the first time they played each other. And I think Georgia will take it and get one of those top seeds.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said just before, it's hard to beat a team twice. And I think Georgia's going to beat them this time because Bama beat them the first time, correct? Yes. So I think it just makes sense that Georgia's going to win. But I don't know. I think it'll be a really close game, but I want to see if Georgia can genuinely prove that they can play a full 60 minutes.
All right. For me, that Bama Georgia game earlier in the season was a phenomenal game and decided by 3 points. I'm going to take Georgia though. I think they're just the better team, and I think in a neutral site, which is more of a home game for Georgia, I'm just going to take Georgia. I think they've looked better recently, and I think that both teams are so solid. I just feel like it's going to be split since they're playing twice. I just don't see Bama winning both games, so I'll give it to Georgia in a close one. But I think that Both teams should be in the playoffs regardless of what happens in this game. I think Alabama is the only team that should be a 3-loss team that makes it, and I think they're good enough to make it. So I'm going to take the Bulldogs, though.
Who are we picking?
Georgia and Bama.
Oh, I got Bama. They're winning right now, so yeah, they're gonna win again.
All right.
Cool. I'm going to also go with Bama. I know this was a Georgia home game, basically, but Georgia also lost actually at home to them earlier this year. And I picked Georgia in that previous game, and I was wrong about it. I need to start going with my gut feelings because it's all about the teams that own one another. I've seen this happen so many times this year. And it's just the teams that historically own the other team. It's just that's how it pretty much goes. And I don't know. Kirby Smart can beat everyone else besides Bama, so I think it's going to continue to be one team owning the other. Give me the Tide.
Should be going SC. And the final one we get to, it's the biggest matchup of the weekend in Indianapolis. Number 2, Indiana versus number 1, Ohio State. It's a matchup everyone wants to see in this Big Ten. These teams are very good, both of them. Fernando Mendoza versus Julian Sayin. Winner of this game is probably going to win the Heisman, if I had to guess. It's going to be a solid game. Indiana has a great offense. Their running attack's solid. They have good receivers. Their defense is also solid. And Ohio State is a team, they got the best defense in the country, possibly the 2 best receivers in the country. So, I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a good game in the first half. But I just think Ohio State pulls away in that fourth quarter. I just think they're the better team overall on paper. And if Ohio State plays their game, I think they can beat anyone in the country, no problem. So I'm going to go with the Buckeyes to win the Big Ten title and clinch that number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, so this was a very good game. 1 and 2 seed, obviously. But, when the season started, I don't think many people took Indiana as seriously as they are now. When they beat Illinois, it was like, oh, shoot. They might actually contend for the playoffs. Then they beat Oregon on the road by 10, and everybody was like, this is actually a natty contending team. And I think it's obviously the same still. They're 1 and 2, ranked. They're both undefeated. This game can tell us a lot how the playoffs are going to go. I think they're the 2 better teams out there. You can throw Georgia in the mix also. But, this is going to be interesting. If Ohio State comes in this game and blows Indiana out of the water, I'm going to, bet $100 Ohio State wins the Natty. I think they're the best team if they win that game by a lot. Although, I do not think that's going to happen. I think the Hoosiers make an upset here. I think Kirk Cignetti comes in with his straight face and his angry look, and he comes in and beats the Ohio State Buckeyes by about 3. So I'm going to take the Hoosiers. And shout out Ian Briers because I would not even hating Ohio State because they're going to make it regardless. I would like to see another team that has never won anything to actually win something. This is just like an upset underdog story. So I'm going to go with the Hoosiers. I think it's a close one. I think that these both teams are great, and they're both going to have byes regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because it's Indiana and they just haven't really won anything before, and that's why I still doubt them. But, I don't know. I just still feel like Ohio State's got the better team. But if you think I'm picking Ohio State for any pick, especially when I'm in the lead right now for these, by not very much, but I'm in the lead, so I can spare a game.
I'm actually in the lead.
Yeah, with an asterisk. With about 40 less picks.
Lead to lead.
If you think I'm taking Ohio State here, you might as well, I don't even know what you should do, but I'm not taking them.
Jump off a cliff.
I'm taking the Hoosiers. I would love to see this upset. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. So, I haven't really watched much Indiana football either, so that could be part of it. But
yeah, so I think I knew we were going to pick this game, so I've been debating it for a little bit. But honestly, the more I think about it, I think Indiana's been so hated on that I think they're going to come out with something. I think Ohio State's probably the same way. But I think this is going to be a high-scoring game if it does end up being close. I'm talking I still think it can be a field goal game, but I'm talking this could really be up there in the score. It could be in the 40s if it really gets out of hand. I understand Ohio State has a great defense, but Indiana is literally an insanely powerhouse offense this year. That's why I think it could be high-scoring. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Hoosiers in a close one. I think probably by 3 as well, but. I just can't take Ohio State right now. I know they've proven themselves, I guess, with this Michigan game, but, I mean, I want to see them prove themselves more. I mean, I want to see if Indiana can answer the call to the defensive side of the ball, too. So I think it's going to be a really good game, but I think it's going to be one everyone's going to have their eyes on, too.
I have OSU. Bob's got Ohio State. And for me, honestly, I'm just going to throw out the records and the rankings out of the window. Ohio State has beaten this team about 30 times in a row, and that's not an exaggeration. I don't care if this is the best team Indiana's ever had. If you think that I even give Indiana a chance in this game, you are absolutely out of your mind. And that's what three of the guys here did, just because they're salty. The team got absolutely butt-fucked today. So
No, I'm just not picking them. I mean, I said I think Ohio State's going to win, but I'm just not picking Ohio State.
anyways, I think that, once again, I think the defense is going to show Mendoza that he's never seen anything like that this year. I think Ohio State's going to be able to dominate them just with the talent that they have. I do think it won't be a blowout per se, but I think it'll be about probably 2 scores. I think that Indiana will score more probably than any other team has scored on Ohio State this year, but I just don't think they're going to be able to really hold that game close in the end. I think that Ohio State will kind of pull away, and I think it'll be a final probably about 31-17 or something around there. I think Ohio State's just way too talented to lose a game like this.
Well, we'll see what happens. A lot of good games this next Saturday that are going to shape the playoff bracket. Moving on to the NFL side of things, Thanksgiving games, we had, I'd say, 2 good games and then 1 game that was a stinker. We'll start with the first one that occurred. They're in the 1 o'clock slate. The Packers beat the Lions 31-24. The big key in this game, Amon-Ra St. Brown went down with an injury. I think, was it in the first quarter, Gavin? Yeah, losing him killed that offense completely. I mean, when not having Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown killed them. I mean, J-Mo had a great game. Gibbs couldn't get anything rolling on the ground. I mean, the Packers defense is a legit stout top 5 defense in the league. And Jordan Love played, of course, he just pulls these games out of his ass where he plays like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then he'll have one game where he plays like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. So I don't get it. If their offense was consistent, I would probably pick them to the Super Bowl, but their offense just isn't consistent, I mean, it's a good win for them. It pushes the Lions into the mode now where they got to win these games. I know they got a tough schedule coming up. They got Dallas who's on a roll. They got the Rams who are looking like the best team in the NFL. They play, I think, who else do they play? Do they play the Chargers as well?
No, we play Steelers, Cowboys, Rams, then
Yeah.
Vikings, and Bears.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule for the Lions coming up. I think the Lions are still going to make the playoffs. They're going to have to figure things out. That offensive line, as we saw, Frank Ragnow will not be playing this season. That is a big loss for them. So, I mean, they got some issues fixed up, but, yeah, it was a good game in between the Packers and the Lions, and they always have, classics against each other. So,
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for a win. Obviously, it's hard to do anything really when the whole offense is injured. It's really disappointing because our defense is finally starting to get healthy, and then everybody's gone on our offense now. So the fact that it was a 7-point game was honestly pretty good. We needed some help from our defense, especially our D-line. I think we've had 4 sacks in 4 games in the last 4 games. So it has not been good. We've been making these mediocre quarterbacks look like they're MVP candidates when they're playing against us. So also doesn't help that the refs keep gifting the other team a touchdown every time they play. So that doesn't help. But, I mean, we should still be smacking these teams with some of the talent we have.
Yeah, to carry off what Gavin was saying, LaFleur definitely called the timeout about a whole freaking second, after the play hit 0. So that was a very big changing moment. And I'm starting to see what Gavin says. I feel like every single team of his has something that screws him over. It was the Lions on Thanksgiving, and then it was Ohio State on a 4th and 5 with a touchdown that should have been a touchback. So I'm feeling for the kid right now. But the Lions, we've all said, they got to win games here. They've got a tough schedule coming up, and they're probably going to place 3rd in their division, which is not good for their playoff hopes. I think that they're going to be, if they make it, they'll probably be the 7th seed, and I think if the Lions are 7th seed, other teams have to watch out and be frightened by the Lions because I think they're better than 7th seed. The problem is they're running out of games to win here, and they're playing some very good teams. If they drop, I think 2 more games, I think they're out. So it'll be interesting to see. But the Packers they played a good game. They won. I still don't think they're better than the Lions. I think they've honestly got lucky when they've played them a few times now. But I mean,
yeah, we got to get some guys back that have been out for a while, and the playoffs pretty much start now for us. We got to win these big games coming up. Each game is a playoff game, pretty much, and who knows, we may still not make it, but if we win out, we should. So we got to just treat every single game we play like it's the playoffs.
and also Ragnow is not able to play, which hurts them even more because they're already very weak on the offensive line. So it's a tough one for them. They got to find some guys to step up and play, or else it could go downhill very quickly.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think this is our kind of the stretch of games where we want to be in as like where our record is right now. I know it's like now like, oh, you want to be 7-6 and have the Rams to play and 2 more divisional opponents to play and all that. But honestly, like this is when we need to just bear fucking down, which Boz would love me saying that. But we need to bear down. We need to just focus in on ourselves, be our team, play our game, convert on 4th down. All right, then I know people are like, why don't you kick the field goals? Why don't you kick the field goals? Yeah, maybe sometimes you wish, but then we're just getting away from our identity, who we are as a team, who we are under Dan Campbell. We didn't do it in the NFC Championship when we were 2 years ago. People criticized us for that. Dan has not gone away from it, and I don't want him to go away from it. I want him to keep being who he is because that's who we are. We're a gritty team. We want to take risks, and when those risks work, that's when we're the best we are. So why not keep taking those risks? I think our O-line does need to play better, and no Frank Ragnow is not going to help that at all. But, I mean, you know what? We just got to have Dan Campbell get us in there and just let him do what he has to do. But I think we definitely can hopefully pull out a good win here, especially against Dallas coming up.
I personally think that the Lions are in a lot of trouble. Not having Ragnow is going to hurt. Do you guys know the severity of the Amon-Ra injury?
It's a small ankle sprain or whatever it's called, low ankle sprain. So it should be recovery time is 1 to 2 weeks. So I don't know if he's necessarily out that long or if he'll be playing through it. But
I'd like to add something. J-Mo stepped up in that Packers game. He became a very good, reliable wide receiver 1. He did drop a pass or 2, but he stepped up, and I know he's going to get those ones reps this week, so that's going to play into, him being prepared a lot more than he was this past week. So I really hope that J-Mo honestly could really break out here with the absence of Amon-Ra.
Yeah, it's just – and then last 2 we'll move into all right, where we go.
It's all right. I think that the Lions are in a good amount of trouble. I think that depending on the severity of the St. Brown injury, it might be tough sledding for them in these next coming weeks with the opponents that they're about to play. I think that they really got to give the ball to J-Mo more because he's a very good weapon for them if they actually give him the chance. So,
and even when we have St. Brown, he needs more targets.
Absolutely. So I think that if they get him more involved, then they're going to have chances to really come in the games more and have better chances to win. Because they're getting a little too predictable sometimes. They got to just open it up a little bit. And I think that they have a chance. Obviously, they're definitely a dangerous team. They have some experience now. But I really think that they're just going to have to just lay it all out there, really lean into the Dan Campbell mentality if they want to have a chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, I will say, I know it sucks we lost. St. Brown got hurt, but it was nice seeing the ball spread around more to some of the guys that haven't really been getting it this year. Like, Khalif Raymond was also out, so we had Isaac Tesla stepped up, had a few catches, had a touchdown. J-Mo, like we said, stepped up. And then even Tom Kennedy, who was on our practice squad, and we activated him the night before the game to be returning punts and not necessarily even playing receiver out there. He stepped up and made some big catches. So even though we lost that game, it was nice to see those guys step up. And honestly, our offense was probably playing better than our defense in that game with all those injuries.
Absolutely. Moving into the other games that happened, Dallas took down Kansas City, 31-28. Another good win for Dallas. You know, they beat the two Super Bowl teams from last year. They keep on winning. You know, Lions, it's going to be a tough test in Detroit. A good atmosphere from the Lions fans always. You know, can we go 3 for 3? You know, this is the stretch where we would need to win 2 out of 3. We got 2 out of 3 we need. Let's see if we can finish off with a third, which would be absolutely nice. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world. But also, the Bengals took care of business against the Ravens. Joe Burrow being back, it was absolutely insane. Even though the one thing I hated was Evan McPherson had 24 fantasy points against my team. All they did was kick field goals because for some reason Joe Burrow's just inability to throw touchdowns is absolutely insane to me. And then the Bears, I would say, were underdogs in that Eagles game, took down the Eagles with very convincing fashion. I mean, the defense made Jalen Hurts look like an absolute nobody out there. I mean, what's happened to Saquon Barkley this year, man? I mean, last year he was the best running back in the league, breaking records, and this year he looks as bad as Ashton Genty does with the fucking Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders are fucking awful. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just unbelievable. Like, the Eagles' offense is so up and down. But, I mean, Bears get a convincing win. Bengals could honestly win the division, and the Cowboys just keep rolling, in my opinion, going into next week against the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't got too much to say on those games. I was shocked to see the Bears win. I know they have a good record. I just didn't have faith in them to play like a very good, solid team in the Eagles and come out victorious, and they did. So for the Bears, I'm shocked. I'm happy for Boz. You know, his team's been bad for so long. They're looking good, but I mean, the other games, Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow coming back. You know, he said it himself. He plays a kid's game and gets paid a lot of money. So he came back and played, and he balled out. So if you're a Bengals fan, that's at least a little glimmer of hope. And you also beat the Ravens, who have been looking hot recently, so that's good for them. But other than that, I don't got much to say.
Yeah, just living part-time in Cincinnati, it was nice to see Joe Burrow, the savior of the entire city of Cincinnati, come back and get a big win. It's actually insane how much people love Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, but he came out and proved why. So that's cool to see. The Bears are legit. They played a great game. I did pick the Eagles that game, but I knew it was going to be it could go either way. So Ben Johnson's really turned it around. I'm still pissed that he went to the Bears and not any other team in the NFL that needed a coach last year, out of like the 10 teams that needed someone.
Yeah, I think a really, great game from the Bears. I hope they end up pulling it off and having a good season just for the next 5 seasons to be absolute hog shit like they always end up being. No offense to Boz, but that's just the way it's been going. Hopefully Ben Johnson corrects that, though. Got to have a little bit of hope because DeAndre fucking Swift, baby, got me 20 points in fantasy. So that's why I like fucking Ben Johnson. He's making sure DeAndre Swift gets the ball and stays healthy. But also on that note, I think Joe Burrow saved a lot of Cincinnati fans from killing themselves this weekend because I know too many who just are miserable right now because of how bad their team is without Joe Burrow.
Can you name them, please?
David Meyer is probably that number one guy right now. It's the poor guy. I mean, he got his win against Ohio State, but I mean, in all honesty, that poor Michigan team lives rent free in his head too. That's no offense to you guys. That's just him being him. It's the only thing he talks about most of the time with me. But yeah, the Cincinnati fans needed that. Even if they're not going to make the playoffs, they needed to just see that light at the end of the tunnel that, okay, if he does stay healthy one of these seasons, we could make a playoff run. We could win the North. Especially with how shit the Steelers are, because we know all about that. Kirk Rogers ain't going to be there fucking much longer before he tears his Achilles again. But, to bounce off that, I think this is a great time for the Bengals to maybe try and build some momentum into next year. And as well as just the Bears to continue to build momentum.
It was a great time watching that game. That was it. The only problem I have with a lot of things is that everything is eerily similar to the 2018 season that ended in heartbreak. So if you look at it's the same exact week of the season that in 2018 the Bears beat the top team in the NFC, and then they do it again in just a great fashion. I mean, Swift and Monungai was just I'm so glad that we can run the ball. And what's nice is that Ben Johnson got the team to – they're the first-ranked rushing team in the NFL right now, which is amazing. And then not a great game for Caleb. I think he still has a lot to learn, and that's probably one of his biggest tests against a really good defense. But he threw a touchdown, and it was a great touchdown at that, off of his back foot running to the left, cross body, right into the hands of Cole Kmet in the touchdown, or in the end zone. That was a beautiful throw. But it was a solid game and really fun to watch. I was very pleased with the team. This is the first time I've ever been able to say that I am pleased with the Bears. So it's been great. And Ben Johnson has really changed everything about the Bears. And bear down, baby.
All right. Honestly, Bears have been proving me wrong this year. They're definitely legit. And I think I can finally say that. They just keep beating contender after contender now, and I think that they themselves has solidified themselves as a contender. I think that they personally are one of my maybe top 3 or 4 teams, at least in the NFC, that could win it all. I like the Rams more than them, but other than that, I think that they're definitely a solid pick to do some damage in the playoffs. As for the Bengals, if they didn't have fucking 8 losses, maybe they'd have a chance to get to the playoffs. As shit as the Steelers are and the Ravens are, there's just no chance. They are not running the table. I don't care if Joe Burrow's. Yeah, I don't care if they're on absolute crack. I don't care if Joe Burrow's still got that lesbian haircut. He's not doing jack shit besides having all these meaningless stat games. I mean, they'll probably lose a heartbreaker at the end of the season to fuck themselves. So, at least he's playing. It's cool to see, superstars play when it really doesn't matter too much anymore. So we'll see if that actually makes it interesting towards the end of the year. But, yeah, Joe Burrow's pretty good, and the Bears are very good.
All right, moving into some NFL games we'll pick before we go here. First one is from this week in the late slate. Bills at Steelers. It's a good AFC showdown. I think both these quarterbacks have something to prove. Josh Allen has played like garbage. Rodgers has come back from injury, but besides that, he's also looked like garbage. So I'm going to take the least more garbage quarterback, and that is Josh Allen. I'm going with the Bills to win this one. I think James Cook will have a solid game. I just think Josh Allen's going to perform better than Aaron Rodgers. That's just fair because Aaron Rodgers stinks. But, yeah, I'm going Buffalo in this one.
Yeah, I'm obviously also going to Buffalo. There's not much of a decision here to even make. As long as this offense can get rolling against the Steelers' defense and not let Chris Boswell kick 15 field goals on them, they should be fine. Aaron Rodgers still buns. I don't even care if he's hurt or not. Buns. Just get him out. Let him retire. Go move back up into the mountains. No one wants to see you ever again. They just have no chance with him at QB1. It's just not going to happen. 8-9 is well on its way, just like I predicted at the beginning of the season. And I'm ready to see it happen, and I'm excited to see it happen.
Yeah, I honestly agree with a lot of Gavin said. My freaking fantasy quarterback is Josh Allen. He's like the best player in the league, in my opinion. I glaze the crap out of him because he wins me every single fantasy game on the earth. But what you're forgetting to realize is Rodgers coming back from injury, and you know what that means? Perk Rodgers, Perk Rodgers, Perk Rodgers, Perk Rodgers, Perk Rodgers. So give me the Steelers at home to take care of business. We've seen very bad teams in the season beat the Bills, including the Miami Dolphins. I don't know why the Steelers can't beat them at home. Give me Perk Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Bills at home.
So I think Bender might also be on the perks, just like Rodgers. What I'd like to happen is the Bills' defense has played like ass most of the season. So since the Steelers' offense is ass, I'd like the two to combine to get them right about to the 40 to 45-yard line, stall out every fucking time, have Chris Boswell kick a fucking field goal to end every drive. I don't care how many he kicks. He's my fantasy kicker. That's all I want out of him, as always. And the Steelers are going to fucking lose by 50. But Not actually, but, it just went well. But Josh Allen is also my fantasy quarterback, so I glaze the shit out of him too. And he had a shit-ass week last week. So if he does that fucking again, I'm going to put him up on the trade block. Not actually, but I really hope he doesn't do that again because I need him for my playoff hopes. So Bills are going to get it done. I need Chris Boswell and Josh Allen masterclass just to keep it a close game. I'm thinking like Chris Boswell, like 6 or 7 field goals, and Josh Allen, I just need like 4 touchdowns from you, bro. I don't fucking care how they come.
I don't think that the Steelers are that good. I think they're going to go 9-8 like they do every year. I think Mike Tomlin probably needs to leave that organization soon if they want to do anything within that division. I mean, the division's shit, so they'll probably win it every year, but they're just not good at all. So I think that Josh Allen is also my fantasy quarterback. So I also glazed the shit out of him, and it's very nice. But, yeah, I will pick the Bills to win here.
Yeah. Perk Rogers, he's probably on a lot of perks as he's able to come back this week. But I really just don't think it'll be enough. I think Josh Allen, he's probably on some like pesticides or something. So he just needs to get this shit done because he's got to stop losing to shit teams. It's just kind of getting annoying because I want the Bills to actually do something for once in the playoffs. Because they always stall out. They always lose to the Chiefs. And it's just stupid to see. Hopefully the Chiefs don't make it this year, by the way. But, yeah, gonna go with the Bills simply because I hate the fucking Steelers. So, yeah.
All right, next one we'll get into is actually not this week, but next week. It's Thursday night, Dallas at Detroit. I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to make it pretty easy. Lions, good football team. I've been consistent for the last 2 years. Very good culture there. Dallas coming off 2 huge wins against the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Lions have had a tough stretch. Lost to the Minnesota Vikings, who were ass. Lost to the Eagles, who we were down 21 and beat. And then they also lost to the Packers, who we should have beat but tied. So, I mean, if you compare that, we've beat teams that they haven't been able to beat. This should be a high-scoring game. I think both offenses score 30 more points. I don't see Lions DB stopping Pickens and Lamb. I don't think they're going to be able to stop both of them. But obviously, as you know, I'm going with the Cowboys to get it done in Ford Field in that environment. And you can fuck off, John, because you guys have been playing horrible defense this past 2 weeks. I'm going with Dallas. Pickens, Lamb, Prescott. They're going to have their days. I'm going with the Cowboys to win 34-31.
I mean, I'm just going to take this back. Somehow the last 2 years, Dallas got this game to be in Dallas. I just want to say the Lions have absolutely owned this franchise in those 2 games.
You guys were way better the last 2 years than us.
We lost the first game because the refs screwed us once again. Surprise, surprise.
Skipper was on.
Last year, I'm pretty sure the final score was 47-9. The Cowboys didn't even stand a chance. This year, Cowboys, like Will said, are coming off some pretty good wins. But they think they're real good right now. They think they're way better than they actually are.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, the Lions are treating every game now like a playoff game. We are locked in for this. I just don't think we're letting a Cowboys team come into Detroit and beat us. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, and I'm a Lions fan, so obviously I have the Lions winning this. But for multiple reasons, I got Detroit.
Yeah, I'm taking the fucking Lions. Cowboys are ass. Thank God they beat the Chiefs last week, but I don't give a fuck. I hate the fucking Cowboys with all my goddamn life. Bruce is just one of those random few people you find in Ohio and you question why the hell they root for the Cowboys, and you don't know why. He just decides that they're America's team. They're not America's team. They have a fucking singular star. That's it. The Patriots are more of America's team. They literally have the colors of America. So, yeah, I'm not taking the fucking Cowboys ever in my life, and I'm a Lions fan too, so give me the fucking Lions, even though I did take the Cowboys technically to beat the Chiefs because I'd rather the Cowboys beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hate the Cowboys as well, but I'm getting closer in the pick records. I'm going to pick who I actually think is going to win. I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys. I think that yeah, you can say they've owned them over the past couple of years, but I mean the Bears have been owning teams and they've been terrible. I don't see why the Cowboys can't beat the Lions this year. The Lions have just not looked good. That's just plain simple. They haven't looked good these past few weeks, and Dallas has beat, like Bro said, the two teams from last year's Super Bowl. They just beat the Eagles. They beat the Chiefs as well. I think that this is Dallas' time to do it. You know, Lions have a terrible secondary. I think we can all agree on that, especially when they're not healthy, and they've been injured recently. And, you know, you got Pickens, who I can't believe we traded him from Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Hayden. For a bag of chips, we appreciate
locker
that.
room problem, but on the field, he's one of the best out there. And then you got Ceedee Lamb as well, and Dax look good. I think I'm actually going to take the Cowboys in this game. I hope the Lions win, though, because I don't like the Cowboys. But
fuck
my
off.
pick record, the Cowboys are winning the game.
And he's going off his pick records because he's getting close to the top, and this is just another one of them that's going to send him right back down.
Yep. I don't understand is what your point is. Who in the fuck are your DBs who are going to guard George Pickens and
Our
Ceedee?
entire DBs, they're all back from injury now except Kirby Joseph. And
Yeah,
he might be
exactly,
coming
Kirby
back next week.
You're telling me fucking Amik Robertson is guarding George Pickens? Like, are you smoking crack?
Amik Robertson is our third cornerback.
Yeah, he's fucking terrible.
Well, you're naming our third cornerback.
Yeah, I'm taking Ceedee Lamb and George Pickens over any cornerback duo in the league.
Justin Jefferson multiple times a year. He locks him down every single time, especially when it mattered the most last year. And like I said, it matters right now.
Have you not seen what this fucking receiving duo has fucking done the last 2 weeks against 2 and 6? Exactly. And not to speak of that, I'm not even talking about defense yet. Fucking front seven with Quinn and Williams. Your offensive line has looked fucking piss poor.
That is the only thing.
And as you said in the beginning of the fucking year, you said Kenny Clark was always a problem. And guess what? Guess who the Cowboys have? Quinn and Williams and Kenny Clark. And they're going to cause problems because your interior O-line is fucking dog shit. And I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of fucking – like, last year's Lions team was way better than this year's Lions team. I mean, they had Ragnow. Yeah, that would have been big help. But, I mean, you don't have – who do you not have on the offensive line? Like, I don't even fucking know. Who's all on your offensive line that's good? Fucking Penei Sewell? Is that it? Exactly. Your offensive line's fucking awful.
I mean, he's playing him. We have our tackles, our interior, which, like you said, your D tackles are very good. That's the only thing that concerns me in this game.
Yeah.
But I also just think that we usually are more, I don't know. Jared is not athletic at all when there's pressure in his face, but I think it usually comes from faster guys like.
You got Overshown. He's a fast edge rusher. Solid.
I've never even heard of him.
Yeah, exactly. You don't watch football.
But guys like Micah Parsons, like we saw last week, cause problems. But Quinn Williams, big tubs, might stuff some runs up the middle.
He's not even big tubs. Have you seen big man Billings?
Okay, no one is talking about the Bears right now.
I am.
All right, that's it.
All right. For me, I just don't really want to pick the fucking Cowboys. I saw the Lions absolutely destroy them last year, so I'm picking off of what I think is going to happen this time. And I think it'll be a lot closer, but it's in Detroit. I mean, come on. I can't pick against Dan Campbell in a game that means so much. I mean, come on. It's the Cowboys. Fuck the Cowboys, and fuck George Pickens, because that YN, I just don't think he's going to get it done.
I just cannot believe
He's probably going to try and get into a fight.
What is that?
What does YN stand for?
YN stand for?
It stands for a youthful neighbor.
I thought it was a young naysayer.
It might be, but I just do not think that George Pickens will be able to get it done because I'm a personal hater of him. So, yeah.
So for the rankings, for me, that's a big part going into this game. I'd probably prefer the Cowboys to win, but I do not think that they will. I think that Detroit's going to go. It's a home game. Eminem's going to be there. Tim Robinson's going to be there. And Bruce is going to be ing his way all the way home.
All right, next.
All right, well, we're moving on to the next one. Big matchup in the NFC North. Bears taking on the Packers. This game is in Lambeau. Boz, I will admit to you, when we got destroyed by the Bears, I thought you guys, I couldn't believe because I thought the Bears were absolutely horrible. But they've been proving me wrong each week. But as I saw the Packers defense do to the Lions, who are, I guess, one of the best teams in the NFC, even though they have 5 losses this year, wants to fucking J.J. McCarthy. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's in Lambeau. I like Caleb Williams. He's improving each game, but I'm going with that stout defense. I'm going with the Packers. I think it's a close game. It's probably going to be snowing in Lambeau. I'm going with Green Bay. If it was in Chicago, I'd probably take Chicago, but I think Green Bay gets their one win, and Green Bay gets the Bears.
I'm going to go with Bros as well. I think the Packers end up winning. I think that, they have to play each other twice, so I think it's going to split, although I think the home team is going to take it both times, so I'm going to go with the Packers.
I think I already picked the Packers once this year. That was just because they were playing against Aaron Rodgers. So I can't ever do that ever again unless he's playing against Aaron Rodgers again. I'm going to take the Bears here. They've been on a roll. They're at the top of the NFC North, and I think they're going to keep rolling. Ben Johnson's got this team real excited.
Yeah, I got the Bears. Fuck the Packers. I don't like the Packers. Only with them in my heart.
You already know who I have. But
Can you please tell us?
The Packers.
Fuck no.
The Packers.
I got the fucking goddamn Bears. I think that it'll be a good game, but I think that the rushing attack will be there. If you watched any of the Philadelphia Eagles game against the Bears, that O-line absolutely bitched their defensive front. They were absolutely destroying them, which is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Calvin Unguy, DeAndre Swift, like I said earlier. I don't know, people are starting to call him Mordecai and Rigby, and I fuck with that. But I'm a big believer in the Bears, so you better know who I have.
All right. I believe in the Bears. I really do. But this game's in Lambeau. But they kind of get owned by the Packers every year. I hate to say it, but it's just been history. And as much as I really don't like the Packers, and I think they're somewhat of frauds just because they lost to the Browns, I think that until it's proven otherwise, I just don't know. So I'm going to have to go with the Packers just based on history.
I would like to state that every Packers fan currently says that the Bears are absolute hog shit and they aren't real and that they're going to demolish them when they have the same amount of teams that they've beat that are above 500, but they are the only team to have a loss. Or they're, out of the two teams, they're the only team to have a loss to a team that is below 3 wins. So take that with a grain of salt. I also believe that Andrew Billings will have a sack this game. And that will get me off of my couch so quick. I can't wait to see him fucking eat Jordan Love for dinner. So that's all I got to say.
All right. Does anyone else have anything to add before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right.
Hey, 16-0 still on the table, by the way. Let's fucking go.
All right. Well, that'll do it for
Who's yours? Hey, Michigan basketball is up next.
Yeah.
We can lose a football game, which, we lost the game. It kind of sucks. But, we're an everything school. So when it comes to Michigan sports, it's not just football, which we, beat them 4 times in a row, and they got their little chance here. Whatever. We'll come back next year and beat them. But, we got Michigan basketball, and we got Michigan hockey. Both top 10 in the country and looking amazing. So get ready for Michigan to not just, dominate in football like they have been the past couple of years, but also these other sports coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say, hockey's the number 1 team in the country right now, so hopefully they keep it rolling. With their best defenseman out, too, right now for the entire year.
All right. Well, does anyone else have anything to add?
They're going to choke like always. Typical Michigan.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. We'll see what happens with these rankings and playoff bracket coming out, and we'll see you for the next one.
Kirk Rogers.